right, let's welcome SABC Digital News producer Ms. Paballo Lephaka. Paballo, very good morning to you.
Morning, Alicia.
Good morning. We'll deal with you in a short moment, but let me welcome the rest of the ladies on the main set. We do have media analyst Professor Glenda Daniels, Media Studies Department from Wits University, and of course the beautiful Ms. Thandi Smith joining us for the first time, who's a media policy researcher from Media Monitoring Africa. Ladies, what a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Good to have you. Paballo, what was the biggest hashtag this week?
Okay, Alicia, so on Monday morning, South Africans woke up to the sad news of former ANC Youth League Secretary General Sindiso Makaka's death. And he succumbed to his injuries after being shot in July in KZN. And you know, people on social media are basically just saying that the spate of killings, the political killings in KZN are like out of hand and something needs to be done. So yeah,
let's look at the tweets. What are people saying on Twitter?
We have Police Minister Fikile Mbalula saying this morning, that was obviously on Monday, I'm lost for words yet again. The spate of political killings in KZN has claimed the life of Sindiso Makaka. Rest in peace. What is
remember Marikana saying there? She's saying it's rather a sad morning at ANC. KZN continues slaughtering their own. Emojis there of a heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking news. Absolutely. I mean, while we're dealing with Makaka's death, another councillor was gunned down in Port Elizabeth. So there just seems to be no end, and it's also reaching other parts of the country. What is Mabine saying?
And then we have Mabine saying that obviously some action needs to take place, saying that while hashtag Sindiso Makaka is mourned by name and his death makes headlines, hundreds more have perished. May his death bring much needed action.
All right, do we have any more tweets?
We have one more tweet here
saying the low intensity war continues to claim a victim after another.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Hashtag Sindiso Makaka. Ladies, we're going to talk about this in more detail. Thandi, what did you make of the social media reaction to the news of the death of Makaka?
I mean, it's interesting, and it just shows, you know, how people are trying to grapple with the reasons why this is happening. I don't think that's being explained nearly enough, and it just shows that we needing to get more context, we needing to unpack these issues in far greater detail.
Absolutely. Professor?
Look, I think it's scary. It's part of a pattern and trend. You mentioned a Port Elizabeth death. But in fact, KZN has got a history of this factionalism.
True.
And it happened even in the 90s, in the early 90s, if you remember. It wasn't just the ANC and IFP, it was also factions within the ANC. So now what we're seeing is Makaka was actually uncovering corruption in a municipality, why a tender had ballooned. And then he was taken out. It's mafia-style operations. It's very, very scary. And I'm very glad that on social media it's become a big thing, including on mainstream media, because otherwise these things can just quietly, you know, Richards Bay just the other month. In fact, the Morani Commission is dealing with 10 deaths in KZN in 1 year, just this year.
And
it's
no
horrific, actually.
Not even a single arrest. It's like, it's crazy. Paballo, let's move on to the next topic, because we will be discussing that the political killings in greater detail.
All right, another topic that was making headlines this week was...
When it rains, it pours.
Yes, the rematch between Bafana and Senegal that FIFA ordered during the week. So the Ghanaian coach, Joseph Lemty, was found guilty of unduly influencing the outcome of the match. And funny enough, people on social media are saying that while they've kind of lost hope in Bafana, they don't have confidence
but people were
in the national
that very
team
same
anymore.
ruling.
Exactly.
Any sentiments like that on social media?
So we have Monram Fobo saying, I have tried to disabuse myself from hashtag Bafana, but keep hoping things are going to change, and they never do.
People are so heartbroken.
And then we have another person who's heartbroken there. saying,
Cameron Van Rooyen says Senegal gave FIFA the link to delete the match against hashtag Bafana, so it will be replayed in November. So people think it's just dubious things here that are happening, Babal.
And then we have another user saying, so it's back to square one for Bafana. We only have 1 point.
Gerinel Not says, if we want all our sports teams to do well, we need to invest at grassroots level and stop the officials from stealing the money. Where did that come from, Professor Daniels?
I don't know where it came from. All I know is that person is absolutely right. The one that says back to square one for Bafana. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We keep trying, and South Africans are always behind their team anyway. I mean, they're not dissing the team. They just fall on the floor in tragic exhaustion.
Tandi?
Yeah, I think it's quite it's quite interesting. But again, completely right. And I like Glenda's points of, you know, even during the worst times of sport, we seem to be quite resilient in our support for our teams.
Look at us ladies being so fair with our judgment on this topic. Let's leave it on Bafana. Paballo, give us the last one. What happened with that Eastern Cape mother?
So, Alicia, we have a mother from the Eastern Cape. She's 55 years old. She was arrested because she stabbed a man and wounded 2 others after she found them gang raping her daughter. So the story has gone viral on social media. She was in the news recently saying that she doesn't understand why she has to be arrested. Any other parent who would have been in her position would have done the same.
What are people saying on social media?
And that's the exact response on social media. People are basically defending her and saying, but she's brave, and they are in awe of her actions. So we have
those tweets there. There's Griselda Didimana says, thinking of the Eastern Cape woman who was arrested after stabbing 3 men for raping her daughter. Worst thing to happen to both mother and child. And there's a meme
we have a
saying,
meme there. I salute you.
Very interesting indeed. Take more tweets there, Paballo.
King Shaka saying, the mother did what every parent would have done to those rapists. You deserve our support. Bravery continue.
He says, can people on Twitter use their influence to ensure that the Eastern Cape mother who stabbed her daughter's rapist does not go to jail? I mean, brings back the question of taking the law into your own hands, but then also if you wait for the law to actually do its job, it's going to take forever, if ever. Tandi?
It's completely true, and I think, you know, generally as a country we have this this air of, you know, mob justice and community involvement and taking the law into your own hands. Because people feel that
the police are not doing enough.
Exactly, and that's the bigger problem. We need to be looking at, well, why is this the case, and how do we change this? How do we, you know, improve our legal systems and fast track that? Because,
absolutely,
you know, I completely agree with a lot of the sentiments on social media.
Professor?
Yeah, I completely agree with Tandi. I think there has to be compassion for that mother, because in South Africa we are dealing with the worst cases of violence against women and rapes in the world.
Absolutely.
So, and we keep waiting for the law to take its course, and the law will take its course, but often rapists don't get high enough sentences. Often they escape from prison. It's not good enough. So you have to understand when vigilantism happens, and it happens often. The community members run out of a township with shambocks, etc., to get the victim, because they scared this to get the perpetrator, because they scared the perpetrator's not going to go to jail. So I have sympathy for the mother.
All right, Paballo, give our viewers that URL one more time before we go.
Okay, so it's www.sabc.co.za/news.
All right, that's where you're going to find everything, including this show. When it's done, after the break, we take a look at the Vuani situation. Do stay tuned. It seems like things are getting tense there.